What's going on, everybody? My name is Soul, and today I am talking about season two of Stranger Things. And just FYI, I binged through season three. I'm all caught up. I'm ready for season four. But I thought I'd talk about season two, but just know that I have the hindsight of season three while doing this review. That being said, season two was probably my least favorite season out of the three. There was a lot of things about it I liked, and then there was a lot of things that didn't really amount to much. I want to start with the characters. A lot of the characters get a big improvement. My boy Jim Hopper up here is perfect. I love Jim is easily the best character of this whole show, and you realize it during this season. This is within the first episode, so this is a light spoiler, but we kind of figure out that Jim is starting to look like a father figure to the survived Elle, and their dynamic is like one of the most important things about this show from here on out. That being said, he has trouble keeping a lid on a super powered teenager living in his little cabin area. And on top of that, he's mostly just dealing with more supernatural things, more creepy government behind the scenes things, upside down nonsense, whatever he's gonna be doing with Joyce. He's always hanging out with Joyce. He's gonna continue hanging out with her. Another big improvement is Steve Harrington's character. In the last season, he was just kind of a bully who kind of got roped into being in the finale and being a good guy at the end of the day. And now we start to realize, oh no, there actually is like a good face turn with this character, and he actually does have good comedic quips, and he's probably one of the best additions to the cast. On top of that, we have another new character named Max, otherwise known as Mad Max. And I really enjoyed the way they introduced her with the arcade thing, and she has this mean older brother who's like awful. He's just if Steve Harrington was a bully, this guy is a bully's bully. And their dynamic, a little bit cliche, but the things that they're trying to adapt and reference are the things that started the cliches. So it doesn't feel as cliche as some other things. That being said, Max, despite being interesting and I like her, doesn't really do much. She just kind of exists for the sake of creating conflict within the characters. For instance, she can't reunite with Mike and the others, but she sees Mike at one point, but he's hanging out with Max, so she gets all butthurt. She's like, "Why is he hanging out with another girl?" Uh, It's an obvious misunderstanding, but it's like and then there's conflict between her and that. I know I've seen season 3. I know that doesn't go anywhere, so that's a big waste of fucking time. And Lucas and Dustin, they're fighting for her attention, and again, it can only go one way, and once it does, it's like we wasted a bunch of time. I don't really like those arcs where friendships are being torn for the sake of creating conflict when it's just you know how it's gonna end up. They're all gonna be friends again. They end up being friends again. We could have done more interesting things than this. And the main boys, Lucas, Dustin, Mike, they're all good. That being said, every other character I think could have done more. Jonathan Byers and Nancy Wheeler are kind of just repeating the last season. Nancy is being emotional about, they have things to do. They're trying to fight monsters and such, but it's like we're kind of just repeating the same arcs from last time. And Jesus Christ, Will in the last season, he was a martyr. He was basically alive for the sake of being a damsel in distress. But now we're doing a whole possession angle. And I don't really like possession angles. And I don't like possession movies. I don't think I've seen a good possession movie in my life. And this is no different. We do the same possession exorcism cliches, only this time that we know exactly what the monster is. I think this is a huge problem in season 2 and 3. A big part of what made the first season so great, you didn't know what was behind the curtain. It could have been anything. This time around, they want to show you immediately what's going on, what the problem is. Like, you think there's something wrong with Will, but it's like he's coughing up demon juice and acting like a demon. He's probably got a demon in him. And sure enough, there's a demon in him. And yeah, it's just not an angle that I thought they could have done a lot better scenarios. And again, Will is still a damsel in distress. We again are going through the same exact stakes, only on a different level. Instead of, just one monster, we're dealing with a giant monster, and it's repeating itself too much. Joyce, for instance, they kind of need to start doing other things with her because her son isn't in trouble, so she's kind of a worrywart. And then her son gets in trouble, and then she's justified, and we go right back to, oh no, my son, give me back my son. And I like Joyce. I really love her actress. That being said, they need to give her more things to do because in the first season, half of her dialogue was about Will, and in this season, a quarter of her dialogue is about Will. We need to do something more with Joyce. And lastly, Elle. Um, I don't understand the appeal of Elle. A lot of people tell me that she's the best character in all this. In this season, she really takes a nosedive because we are trying to assess her backstory, and the whole "oh, I can't really communicate" thing is getting the whole can't communicate on top of her always just doing the exact same nosebleed, doing that over and over and over again. And then she usually just cuts all the tension. There will be a monster. She just explodes its brain with her mind, and boom, we're saved. And she just bails out everybody, so it makes everybody else look weak, and she just does the same thing. So after a while, it gets old. It worked for the first season. At this point, though, it's a little tiresome, and a lot of people were telling me around episode 7, it becomes a filler episode and we waste time and we try to establish her backstory. But I'd rather just not know her backstory, in all honesty, compared to what we got. And I don't think it was as bad as some people made it out to be. Um, it was a filler episode. It didn't really do much for her character. It was kind of a waste of time, but it was, as far as a filler episode goes, it was fine. I didn't dislike it. That being said, it didn't really progress the story. But compared to the rest of the season, which doesn't really accomplish much either, I'm not saying it's that much worse. I don't wanna sound like I dislike this season. I did like this season because these are great characters. I really like all the boys. I really like their dynamic. I enjoy just about everything. It's just certain things are being reused. Other characters are not getting enough to do. And the whole 80s, we're trying to really get that nostalgia boner up thing. It's just not doing it for me. It didn't really do it for me the first time around, but now it's like really getting old. Oh, I don't know how I didn't mention this before. Bob, Joyce's new love interest. And keep in mind, that was probably the best thing that they did with Joyce before they slipped her into the same arc. But Bob, beautiful man. I love Bob. Uh, Now that everybody knows what's going on, it's good to have another person there who's like actually scared and unknowing. Again, though, I think they could have left a lot in the unknown. I would much rather not know what they're dealing with or what the big scary thing is out there. I think we got to get away from this whole evil government trying to do things to the upside down. I know that that's literally what the big thing about the show is. It's the upside down, but there needs to be something else. They need to find a new way to get longevity out of that because as it stands, um, I'm getting a little bored with it. But we'll see where season 3 goes. Spoiler alert, I did like it better. But for this season, I'm going to give Stranger Things season 2 a 7 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and until next time, with that, I leave you.